I want to make sure I thank everybody for taking time out of your busy schedule. I really appreciate the active participation of the community. When I got elected as mayor and as councilman, I think it's very important for us as elected officials to be in the community doing town halls, community coffees, mayor mixer with the mayor. I want to make sure that I'm out and very accessible to everybody to make sure I can take your voices and your concerns with me to City Hall. And so we'll be doing a lot of these things throughout the city. And I want to thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule. I know there's a lot of other things you could be doing with your time. It's the most precious commodity that you have. But for those of you that don't know, my name's Tony Strickland. I'm the mayor of Huntington Beach. I just very grateful for all of you coming out. And so I thought it would be very important, especially since we're here at the community center, that we give a little update about the revamping. I know that's a lot of your concerns here in this community, and that we make sure we're on the same page, working together to make sure we do a great job for our community. So with that, before I'll be remiss if I didn't say Al Zelinka, our city manager, is here. And later in the program, I'll mention all the other staff. All the staff from Huntington Beach, thank you for being here, and I'll make you all stand up a little bit later. But without further ado, I would like to introduce Ashley Wysocki, who's going to give an update. She's now the Director of Community and Library Services, and she's going to give an update on what our plans are here in terms of this community and this redevelopment here. Not redevelopment, but Ashley, you ready?
I just have to do double duty and click the PowerPoint as well. So I'd also like to bring up our team. Yeah. Okay, so good evening, everybody. Well, come on, everyone. We've got a few presenters because I know a few voices always make the presentations go so much more enjoyable. But as mentioned, I'm Ashley Wysocki, Acting Director for the Community and Library Services Department. And joining us is Chris Cole, our Acting Deputy Director for the Community and Library Services Department. Kristen Martinez, our Programs and Services Manager. And then Jessica Framson, our Library and Cultural Services Director, or Manager. Okay, so as mentioned, in 2020, I'm sure many of you know this by now, the Community and Library Services Department merged as part of the reorganization. And so our teams have done a really seamless job of doing what each of the divisions do best, but then coming together when it makes the most sense. And so bringing play and knowledge together has really been something that this team has just done a phenomenal job of doing and enhancing our services through what we all do best to the community. And so eventually what we'll do is to work to bring a single mission statement together. But until then, we do have both of our mission statements up here, where the Community Services Department provides outstanding programs, services, and facilities to enhance and enrich the lives of our residents and visitors. And then the Huntington Beach Public Library and Cultural Center welcomes, empowers, and enriches our community, providing innovative and traditional library services that inspire and encourage transformation and growth. And so it really does take a village to offer programs and services to the community, and our department is responsible for interfacing and liaising with 16 boards, commissions, and committees here in the city. So I do know we have a couple of our commissioners here tonight. If you'd all like to stand up so we could recognize you, that'd be great. So yes, a lot of not just our team interfacing with the community, but so much of the community gives back to what we do every day, and so we really appreciate your service as well. And then, of course, the key staff members we've already mentioned. For the interim, I will be the director until a new person is appointed. And Chris Cole will be serving in my previous role as deputy director. So we look forward to continuing to serve you in new capacities in a seamless way. And then, of course, our organizational chart. So we do have 3 divisions as mentioned, the Programs and Services Division, the Facilities and Events Division, and then the Library and Cultural Services Division. And throughout the course of the presentation, we'll each get an opportunity to share what each of our divisions do. And so we'll start with the administration division, which is what I get the pleasure of working with every day. And so we oversee really the support function of the department, the contracts, we're interfacing with city council, providing front office services, running our bounce house and park permit programs and clubhouse rentals out of City Hall. And then we're also embarking upon a citywide strategic plan that hopefully we'll get the opportunity to then develop a strategic plan for the department, given that the two departments have since merged. And then we also work on budget preparation. There are many familiar faces here in the room today that we get to interface with, not only in City Hall, but out in the community. And then obviously our accounts payable and receivable. And then, as I mentioned, not only with our boards, commissions, and committees, but there are so many public-private partnerships that help make our programs function. So a great example of that would be our equestrian center out at Central Park. The HB Tree Society really helps in Central Park as well with the urban forest and the secret garden. And then our team is responsible also for things like the concession stands out on the beach, where those are third-party organizations that Chris Cole gets to assist with the management of the leases. So we're constantly looking. What our goal often is to not duplicate services, but how do we work with other people to combine those services to reach as many people and as many needs as possible. And another really fun thing that we get to do is develop our parks. We have 79 parks here in the city. So we get to, in collaboration with our Community and Library Services Commission, we get to plan and recommend rehabilitation projects. We are sitting on the property of one that we are currently working on. And so we're constantly looking at our city parks and beaches. We do have facilities that have been here for a very long time, and it's important not only that they serve the residents of today, but we look at our spaces and work with the residents on how can they also serve our residents for the future. And so we also author and manage a ton of grants. The library is remarkable at securing grants, and then also associated with our capital improvements. And then we also manage our park development impact fees, which help fund future projects. And then we were in the midst in 2020 of updating our citywide Parks and Recreation Master Plan. Some priorities took over, and because it was COVID and we weren't able to bring the community together in a physical sense, we put a pause on that to really focus on some other priorities, and we do plan on revisiting the Parks and Recreation Master Plan once a few of our other master plans, which we'll talk about later, are complete. That said, here are upcoming projects and master plans. So we'll get more detail on what's going on with Edison Park, but we are right now also in the middle of the Marina Park Master Plan, which is over on the north end of the city. To date, we've had one community meeting, a 2-week virtual survey, and then this upcoming Saturday, if you're interested, we are having another community meeting to talk about the findings from that survey and some conceptual plans based on the community input. So that'll be this Saturday at 1:30 at Murdy Park in the community center. Chris Carr Park will also be on the docket once Marina Park is complete, and so that we're anticipating marketing for that to go out in May to the neighbors surrounding that park, and then we're anticipating late May for our first community meeting. And then on Tuesday, we've been working really hard in the Oakview area to identify how the facilities are serving the community. We have the Oakview Family Resource Center, which sits on our property, and then we also have the library, which is both of them are very small spaces for the amount of services that those two buildings provide to the community. And so we've been working really hard to look at how do we better serve our residents in an updated facility. And so on Tuesday, we'll be going to City Council with a study session to talk about the feedback that we've received from the residents and what type of conceptual plan is possible over in that facility to really meet the needs based on the services being provided. And then, as I mentioned, also the Parks and Recreation Master Plan update. So that's looking at a citywide, what are our needs, making sure that we're talking to our residents because we all have our passions, but ultimately we're here to serve your passions. So what are you looking for out of your facilities and your programs, and then also conducting a community needs assessment and identifying future funding sources for potential projects. So Edison Park. So this is a project that's been going on since 2021. We've had a number of community input meetings. We've tried to balance, obviously during COVID times, bringing people together through virtual opportunities. We've done a couple of webinars. We've done virtual surveys. We've held meetings here at the park site. And so all that being said, Right now, after working with stakeholders in the community, this is a property that sits on a landfill. About 70% of this property is on a landfill, and many of the hardscape amenities are sinking. And so what we felt was the next best step in the process is to conduct a geotechnical analysis, a noise assessment, and some other studies to make sure that whatever we bring to council, we have the most accurate information to date. So we didn't feel it would be appropriate to hypothetically say something may work here and something may work on the landfill. We don't have enough information to know what the long-term effects of that is. So this process will take about 9 months. It's about 2 to 3 months to procure the proposal for the geotechnical and the other site analysis information, another 3 to 4 months to really conduct that, and then another couple of months to analyze the information to then make an informed decision to bring back to council for recommendation. So right now, it may feel like nothing is happening, but behind the scenes, there is a lot going on. And the more information and data we have to make really a truly informed decision about the hardscape of the park and the open space, I think the better this park will serve our residents for the next 50 years. And the other fun thing that we get to do is all of these amazing playground projects that we've been completing. So this year, right now, Hopeview Park has just gone down for renovation, and so that park is planned to open at the tail end of May. And then concurrently next week, Pattinson Park off of Palm Street, that will go down, that will start to go down for renovation as well. And we anticipate Pattinson Park to be open at the end of June. And then on next year's CIP for playground rehabilitation, we have Trinidad Park over in the harbor. We have Sealy Park and Hawes Park slated in the southeast area for renovation. So, and what we're trying to do, many of the playgrounds look and feel the same. And so what we've really tried to do is give each playground a different type of feel, incorporate some accessible elements to make sure that the parks really can be accessible to everybody. And to make them unique looking. So I think the flavor a long time ago was if we have the same equipment, we can replace it, and there really are only a couple of designs. Now playground designers are infinitely creative, and the more that we can encourage people to visit different parks through the design, I think the better than we're exploring all of our open spaces. So we're really excited to get those playgrounds off the ground, and the playground designer that we're working with, he really is committed to not having any one playground look like the other. The most recent playground that we just opened last month was Central Park East behind Armstrong Garden Center. If you haven't had a chance to go check out that playground yet, we're getting a lot of great feedback. It looks like a big giant colorful spaceship is the thing that I can explain it as the best. And so with that being said, I'd like to turn it over to Chris Cole to update you on facilities and events.
Thank you, Ashley. So I get real excited to talk about the awesome things that we get to do as a department. So I'm really excited to show you what our division does here in the facilities and event divisions. So you can see that we have a permit process that we do for all the special events in town. There's two different ones. There's specific events and special events. Specific events are the bigger ones. But I like to kind of illustrate that, since the dawn of civilization, different communities have had cultural events and sporting events, and they kind of help tell the story of those communities, and such with us too. Some of our special events really tell the story about Huntington Beach. So you think about all the people that watch the 4th of July parade on TV, and how that tells all those people watching about our community and what we do and how we get together and are so supportive of one another and our country. The U.S. Open of Surfing, there's millions of viewers that watch that for 7 days in a row. People all over the world get to watch what's happening in Huntington Beach. So we're very fortunate to have such great events here in our inventory. Pacific Air Show is a great one too. Surf City Marathon, we usually have about 31 different countries that come and compete in that marathon. So our events, they bring in a good economic revenue to the city, but it also builds our brand value all over the nation, all over the world too. So people see these events and they recognize Huntington Beach as a place that they may want to go, and then sometime down the line, people want to come and visit Huntington Beach, and we'll be able to have the benefit of having those people come at a later date. So we process 70 specific events, permits a year on average. Those are the big events like the ones you see up here, but we also do about 80 special events on the beach, which could be small as a simple wedding or a school surf contest, something like that. So between the two, our permit department gets a lot of business all throughout the year. So Ashley had mentioned we have some really great rental facilities around town: Newland Barn, Harborview, Lake Park. We have a new one that just opened up, Memorial Hall on 17th and Orange. It's the site of the previous Rogers Senior Center. So people have events here on a regular basis: birthday party, weddings, meetings. And so if anyone is looking to have a party or a meeting or anything like that, please reach out to our team and we can give you a tour of our inventory of great clubhouses around the city. Our sports complex also is a great facility that offers multiple different variations of sports. We have 8 softball fields and 7 soccer fields, and batting cages and turf fields. The sports complex now is under the operation of a private operator, and they are doing a fantastic job on getting as many people access to that facility as possible. And they're also bringing in some great national tournaments that are bringing people to our city to compete in those events all throughout the year. Our regular programming at the facility includes adult sports, youth sports, and also people can rent the facilities for different events. Ashley had mentioned that my division also is in charge of managing several leases around the city. She had mentioned the beach concessionaires along the beach, like Zach's and Dwight's and Kokomo's and whatnot. But also we have some much bigger facilities that we manage the relationships with, such as Metal Art Golf Course, the Huntington Central Park Equestrian Center, and also the Yacht Club. So those are great partnerships that we have to bring those little additional extra quality of life facilities to our community. And we also have some other agreements that we have around the city, such as the Little Leagues and whatnot. So that all comes through this division as well. In my division, we also have all the parking and camping facilities and responsibilities. And so, of course, one of our biggest assets in terms of square footage is our beautiful beach that we have in our coastline and the millions of visitors that come to our beach every year. So this division is usually the first and maybe the only point of contact that our visitors have with city staff. So we have a wonderful team of people led by the supervisor, Milan, down there. And as you can see some of the stats here, we issue over 10,000 beach parking passes every year. 840,000 vehicles come through our lots. We have our main promenade parking structure that generates 2.5 million hours of paid parking in a year. And we also have 1,000 parking meters and 38 pay stations. And so Milan, our supervisors, have done a great job incorporating new technology into our parking systems. So pretty soon we're going to have our patrol vehicles from the police department outfitted with license plate readers. And so we're going to be able to step into the next dimension of managing parking systems through that new technology. We also have a newly outfitted parking RV campground that we rebranded as the Huntington Beach RV Campground. It used to be called Sunset Vista, but we felt that this is more telling of who we are, and it's been very successful. So we have 50 wonderful RV parking spaces right up there against the beautiful Pacific Ocean. And they're busy most all the time. It's open through October and through May, and most every weekend we are booked out down there. And then I will turn it over to Kristen to talk about the recreation programs.
Hi, everybody. I'm Kristen Martinez. I'm the manager of Programs and Services Division. We get to do a lot of fun things in our division. We're responsible for our recreation and human services programs. We have several facilities that we run, including Edison Community Center here, City Gym and Pool, Murdy Community Center, Senior Center in Central Park. Each facility is unique, has their own amenities. Like we have the skate park here, bocce ball courts at Murdy. City Gym and Pool has the indoor gymnasium and swimming facilities. So we get to offer a lot of dynamic programs and opportunities for those in the community to come and enjoy. We also do rentals for birthday parties, fundraisers, weddings, things like that. Senior Center in Central Park, I would say, is our most popular place. We book out about a year in advance, and we have a great program running over there, great facility. It's beautiful. If you've ever not been, you should come see it. We're busy every single weekend, so that's great. So has anybody, I hope so. Have you heard of our Sands magazine before? Yes. So I found one just now when I looked down. Look, it's right here. We mail out that magazine quarterly to 82,000 people in our city. Every resident in our city gets a copy of this magazine. We have our next guide, our summer guide, coming out the week of May 8th. And we do a variety of classes. We have a couple different ways that we offer classes. We have a contract class program where we contract with people that are experts in what they do, whether it's teaching yoga, whether it's teaching karate, like across the hall here. You name it, we try to get the most amount of variety classes possible, and we offer it at all different facilities around the community. We also run in-house programs, so that means our staff lead some activities. So Camp HB is very popular, and that's a summer camp program that we run ourselves in-house, and we have filled up last year. We are full this year. Sorry. We accommodated 450 youth last year. That's how many youth ran through our program. So it's a very successful program. Also, we run our in-house aquatics lessons. We had 1,900 kids come through our Learn to Swim program. So that's something that we view as essential to what we do, especially in a beach community, is having that opportunity for kids to learn to swim at an affordable cost. Also, we have our youth sports program. We've really come back from our COVID days. We were thriving, and then COVID happened, and then now we're seeing a lot more demand for our programs. Alone, we have grown by 115% in our youth basketball program, and we've grown by 54% in our youth volleyball program. So super fun opportunities at a low cost for kids to come participate in our leagues. My own son does it. He loves it. Let's see. So we do tennis and surf instruction, and to register for classes, it's at hbsands.org. And generally, this past year, we had over 38,000 enrollments. So we are busy and we're bustling, and we're so excited to offer these opportunities to our community. We also, what we think is super fun, like icing on the cake, is we get to do recreation events. So, yeah, thank you. Our next event is Kids Go Crazy. It's on May 20th at the City Gym and Pool. It's kind of a glow-in-the-dark family-themed event, so we're really excited about that. We have the Pearson coming up on June 10th. I think it's our 71st, John, is that right? No, 72nd Pierce Swim. So we've been running this event for 72 years, which is pretty crazy. And I think everybody who swims around the pier is very brave, because I'm a chicken. But it's an amazing event to get everybody out in the community, out at the beach, and exercising and having fun together. We also will be doing a summer movie series this summer, all the Fridays in August. And we will have our Friday here at Edison. More information will come out in the sands about the date. We also have a city surf contest that's open to Huntington Beach residents. And I think last year we did our 50th year of that contest. So that's also long-standing, an event that we've been able to offer to the community. And then there's other events we do, like the Active Living Expo at the Senior Center, Fall Fest, got to celebrate, Halloween at Worthy Park, Breakfast with Santa, Easter Hunt. And then we also provide support for Oakview community events. Now is our human services component. So if you've never visited the Senior Center in Central Park, it's an amazing place. They do amazing things. Thank you. There's two components. There's a recreation and active aging component, and there's also social services, which the goal is to help people to age in place. So on the recreation side, we see about 500 visits per day. We offer a congregate lunch on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday in partnership with our Meals on Wheels. And those numbers are growing. I think we're about 75 people each day. We offer a variety of activities and classes. We aim to offer volunteer-led classes, contract classes that are paid. It's a variety. We have a game room with social activities. So it's a huge variety to aim at all interests, abilities, whatever you think you might be interested, the Senior Center might have it. Movie days, all that fun stuff. We also have a fitness center for ages 50 plus. It's a very beautiful facility, and It's pretty busy. We have over 1,500 memberships, and we see about 165 check-ins per day. So it is busy, and it's just a beautiful place to work out, so you should check it out if you haven't. Also moving on to our social services, we have a care management program. We have one full-time care manager, and then we have 4 part-time care managers that serve an ongoing client base of 400 people. Not to mention any inquiries that may be 1 time or 2 time that extend beyond that. They help connect people with resources to stay in their homes. Whatever challenges people are having, they help solve them. We also have a home-delivered meals program in partnership with Meals on Wheels. That is, Meals on Wheels provides the food, but we arrange the routes. Volunteers come deliver the meals. It's pretty darn amazing. And we have a myriad of volunteers that serve the senior center. I think last year alone, it's 38,000 hours people donate their time to deliver meals, work in the center, amazing things. Oh, and we also have a transportation program from ages 60 plus. So whether it's you want to go to the doctors in Huntington Beach, actually go to Hogan Memorial Care also. Or if you want to get your hair done, you want to come to the senior center, you need to go to the grocery store. We have that mechanism in place to get you there. And we also have a beautiful partnership with our Huntington Beach Council on Aging. They come alongside us and raise funds to support our services. So whether it's a dance and active recreation programs, or whether it's supporting our service to individual funds for like the life alert buttons, whatever it may be, they come alongside us and support us through that journey. So it's pretty amazing. So I'll pass this off to Jessica. Thank you.
Thank you, Kristen. All right, so I'm Jessica Framson. I'm the Library and Cultural Services Manager, which means I oversee all of our libraries and the Huntington Beach Art Center. I am going to just wrap this up for our presentation with an overview of the library. So the library has had a city-run library since 1909. So we've never been part of the county system. We are a municipal library. We have also a ton of volunteers. So 450 volunteers, 25,000 hours, sorry. We do have 5 locations, and I'll touch on the location in this neighborhood, but 4 locations throughout the city, plus the library in Central Park, and then the art center downtown. 600,000 people currently walk through our doors in a year, and 900,000 items are checked out yearly. Very active library users in this community. 46,500 active borrowers. That means people who have library cards and are actually using them, not expired, but actually coming through our doors, checking out material, using our online resources. So about a quarter of the city has active library cards. And we have 289,000 items in our collection, which is big. In the last year, 80,000 items were placed on hold. So if people aren't familiar with the hold system, it means that you can put an item on hold. So if it's either checked out or if you just can't get to the library that day, we will pick it out for you. We will send it to any location within the system where you would like to check it out. So if it's at Central, but you want to pick it up at Banning, we'll send it over to Banning for you, and you can drop it off at any location. So the holds are very popular. And in the last year, the City Council voted for the library to go fines-free. And what that means is that, yay, thanks. We have removed overdue fines. So that decreases barriers to access, gets more people in the door. It also gets our material back because people aren't embarrassed to turn in something late and then owe a fine on it. So there's been a lot of anecdotal studies throughout the country that show that going fines-free really increases access to libraries. So we're very excited that we were able to do that last year. And the Banning Branch Library. I hope you're all familiar with the Banning Branch Library. It's right down the street. It was built in 1964, became a library in 1968, and yes, it is still standing. It's very impressive. We recognize that the Banning Branch Library isn't quite able to meet the capacity for the need in the community, and that it is outdated and needs some work. So we have commissioned a conceptual plan to start in the fall, which just means that we're going to be doing some community outreach, getting some input, feedback on what people in this community would like to see for their local branch library. So we're really excited to kick that off. And the Banning Branch Library had 13,000 visits this year and almost 30,000 checkouts and 4,000 holds. That's the second highest of all the libraries only after Central Library, which means that the Banning Branch and the community around Banning are big readers, avid readers around here. Thank you. They have about 10,000 items on the shelves. We do have a Banning Branch book club. We do have a craft program. We do have parks passes. If anybody's unfamiliar with this, there's a partnership between the California State Library and the California State Parks to offer free parks passes. Currently, there's about 180 people on hold for these park passes, but we did just get a couple hundred more. But at each of the branches, we have what's called a Lucky Day collection. Those items can't be placed on hold. It means if you walk into the branch and one is on the shelf, it's your lucky day, you get to check it out. Nobody can put it on hold. So I expect everybody to go into Banning and see if there's any on the shelf. And then we have our summer reading program kicking off June 24th. And summer reading is very popular. We have thousands of children and families participate throughout the summer to make sure that their kids keep reading. So that's a quick overview of the Banning Branch Library. And before we move on to questions, I just wanted to acknowledge that there's been a couple of issues at Central Library over the last few weeks. If you've seen social media, you know it's been a rough couple of weeks for us. We have been out of power for 2 weeks. So there was a fire in one of the transformer substations, and it's major. And so Public Works has been working really hard to get us back online. And the Deputy Director of Public Works is here to answer questions on that. And then we've also had to remove the aquarium. So I know the aquarium was very popular. I know we're sad too. We miss the fish. We love the kids walking in and yelling at the fish and waving to them. It's very sweet, but that structure was 30 years old and was failing. It was leaking. It was rusting. So there were concerns for safety of the structure, of the people under the structure, of the fish themselves. So the aquarium doctor who managed our aquarium came and took the fish out the day after the power outage because having to maintain a generator throughout the power outage to keep the fish going to eventually take it out anyway was just more than we were able to handle. So the fish are all okay, they're all safe. We will be having some programs coming up to say goodbye to the fish. We have some cool crafts going on. We have letters to the fish. So bring your families in. We're going to have some cool things to make sure that the kids get a chance to say goodbye to the fish. Yeah. Right. And yeah, questions?
My question is with regards to the Banning Library. Can you go my question has to do, can you guys hear me? Yes. How about I just talk? 'Cause I'm
The reason why is because it's me.
Okay, there we go. My question has to do with the outside of the Banning Library. It looks like it hasn't had any attention in decades. And I know a Boy Scout troop went in and did a nice little job, but I was just walking by there the other day, and it wouldn't take much to make it look really nice. And I know there's going to be time for the planning and the conceptual plans to make it look nice on the inside, but what can we do on the outside
You mean currently or with the plan?
now?
Yeah, I mean, so we did have an Eagle Scout come and repot the entire front planter, which it's going to take a little time to grow in, but we're happy to work with our trees and plants division to see what we can do to beautify it a bit, for sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do.
Hi. So I was just at the Main Street Library today, and I remember seeing on social media that they had to close last year a couple times because it got too hot.
That's correct.
And I'm just wondering, like, what do we have to do? Who do we have to bother about getting them air conditioning?
Yeah, so we are actually writing a state grant. The state library has infrastructure grants, and the grant opening period is right now. We are writing a grant for the upgraded electrical and to install an HVAC system at Main Street Library. Now that we are having warmer days, we do recognize that it's unsustainable and
Yeah.
it's unfair to have staff in the building, public in the building when it gets to that temperature. So yeah, we are actively working on that. Good luck. Thanks.
Hello, this is not a library question.
Great. Even better.
You actually answered my library question, so thank you. Well, first and foremost, I want to give a shout out to our mayor, and I see that one of our council members is here also. Great job, hit the ground running. Can't praise you enough. You've done exactly what you said you'd do. Thank you. Now on to business. I don't know if any of you are responsible for allocation of trash cans inside of Central Park. If you are, I will address it to who that would be.
I can take your inquiry, and then our Public Works team is here also.
Okay. We've been residents in Huntington Beach for over 40 years. We walk the city in multiple places. Down at the beach, no problem with trash cans. There's probably one every 20 feet, so not an issue down there. You go to Central Park, we have a dog, and obviously a lot of dogs go to Central Park, and I'm talking about both sides. I'm talking about the library side as well as the senior center park side. You have dead spots, basically, where there's not even a trash can in sight, and that can be a real problem. Not so much for the dog owners, because they're fairly responsible. I see very few waste bags of that around. However, even on a non-holiday weekend, the small amount of trash cans that are in Central Park are overflowing because people bring bounce houses for birthday parties. They have family events. You'll have one single regular 30-gallon trash can, and literally on Sunday night, Monday morning, there will be 50 bags of trash all around it. And as you well would expect, the wildlife get into those trash cans and then spread it even further than that around the park. We desperately need more trash cans in Central Park. And for that reason, I've tried to go through city council already. I don't know what power they have, but if anybody here has a closer connection to where we can get that done. I understand there's probably a contract for the trash there. I understand they probably have so many they'll pick up, but if we need to allocate more money for those resources, it would be well worth it. And they had an old system that actually worked quite well. Used to be in Central Park, there would be 4 metal rings with a big post that went down into the ground. During the winter months, when there weren't so many visitors, there would probably be 1 or 2 trash cans in there because those rings would each hold a trash can. But when they did have the summer months, when the weather got better, when there were more events, they would actually put 4 trash cans in there, which is really, really smart. The problem was those only held the regular round trash cans with the lids that come off, and again, the vermin would get inside. So I'm not sure if there could be some brainstorming going on there, or even the type of trash cans that they use down at the beach, because of the vermin, are smart because they lift the lid, they go down, they're going to be and they're larger than what's already in the park. So, just some thoughts on it, and hopefully you can work on that.
Thank you. Before we take any more questions, I wanted to welcome back up Mayor Strickland. So, thank you.
Thanks, Ashley.
Question.
Stay here, Ashley. Stay. Please, go ahead.
I just had a quick question. It had to do with the sands. Years ago, when the sands came out, it was on a newsprint. And then all of a sudden, it came on a very glossy, expensive paper. And in my household, we get 3 sands. And there's no reason for it. We get occupant, we get my husband, and we get myself. So I'm wondering where the database is for this, what the budget is for this, and if it shouldn't just be technical. If you're going to have to register online and you have city websites that already encompass all of this, why we're still sending out this catalog and what it costs to do that, where it is in the budget. It's bothered me for years.
Gosh, okay. Let's think where to start. So the SANS, we have tried to address the mailing it out still. We have tried in the past not to mail it, and we had a significant decrease in our registration for our classes. So
But how long ago was that?
2009, maybe the last recession.
2009?
I would say it's 2009. So we're
Okay.
yeah. So learning from that and what we had to do to get people into our classes, we've continued mailing out the SANs. There are people that look forward to it and are excited to receive it. In regards to the paper, that we had recently, well, since COVID, there was a paper shortage, and we had to get what paper we could procure from the manufacturers to mail out the SANs.
So it went from newsprint to expensive glossy?
Well, yes, yeah, during that time it did, but we're working on getting the paperweight back down to save our costs. Yeah.
Do you know what it costs to mail this out?
I could find out for you off the top of my head. I can't. I
And
don't recall.
who maintains the database? Where do you get the database? Why am I getting 3?
Well, that's a good question, because we send it to the post office does, and the mail carriers are supposed to deliver 1 to each household. So why you're getting 3, I'm not quite sure.
1 to myself, 1 to my husband, 1 to
Yeah,
occupant.
because it's not addressed to a person individually. It goes to each household. So that is a good question, and we would like to know the answer too, because we certainly don't want to send 3 copies out
But
to each person.
where is the database coming from? Is it from water bill or from what?
We work with yeah.
So the post office has a bulk mailer system, and so each carrier route, we say we need 500 for this route, 300 for this route. And so when we say we want to bulk mail, they understand that it's 1 per household within that route. So that's why if you look at the top of the SANs on the back cover, there isn't an address there it's called the insignia, I believe it's what it's called on the top right. And so that signifies that we've already prepaid for the postage and they follow each resident. So why you're getting 3, I don't know. We'll talk to the post office and make sure that it truly is 1 per household. But when we send the quantity of SANs to the post office, we're sending for the number of homes in Huntington Beach based on the feedback that they're giving us.
So there's no plan to go digital with this?
It is something that comes up a lot of times in many of our forums across the nation, and cities that have tried to do this, or agencies, they find that it's a detriment to the programming because then people are not they're not signing up. So we have entertained other things like smaller postcards with QR codes. So there are different avenues, but while we're coming out of where people really were not participating, we don't want to break what's not broken. It doesn't mean we can't try things, but I do hear what you're saying in the age of digital area, but then we have to make sure everybody gets 1 postcard and a reminder, and so it will take some time and planning to develop a robust campaign to notify people, A, maybe going away, but please start to expect B. So we just want to make sure people are informed.
Thanks, Ashley. Thanks.
Before we move forward, I want to introduce our Mayor Pro Tem, Gracie Vandermark, who's here. Let's give her a big round of applause. She's doing a great job. Again, the reason why I'm here is to get your questions. I want to listen. Like, for example, Nick, come up here. I know you talk. No, come on, don't be bashful. I don't want people to be bashful. But Nick, come up here and talk about AYSO soccer fields. I know we've talked privately, and I just don't want people to be bashful. Or come on up. Okay, please. Because the reason why I'm here is I don't want you to be bashful and not ask the question that you might have asked me at the coffee shop or some. Oh, Natalie Mosier, I didn't see you over there. Let's give Natalie Mosier a big round of applause. I'm sorry, I didn't see you earlier. I'm sorry. So the reason why we're doing this is so we can get, you might tell me at the coffee shop, but we have staff here. We have a lot of staff here. And again, I want to get your suggestions and see if we can make a solution to, some of the problems that you bring. That's why I do these. So please, I know I've heard about the soccer fields and ability to have nighttime soccer, I believe is the goal. Is that Please, go ahead
Yeah,
with the
so
question.
my name's Ann McCarthy. I was the regional commissioner for AYSO Region 56, which is down here in southeast Huntington Beach. I think I know pretty much almost every city person here and the council people, hopefully on good terms. AYSO Region 56 used to practice at Brethren Christian, which was the Sowers Middle School. And when not Sowers, Geisler Middle School. When that school closed and was sold, we lost our two biggest fields and our only lit fields. And so we lobbied with the developer, we worked with the city, we worked with the school district, and we were able to secure funds from the developer and work with the school district to get the lights at Dwyer on. We were able to work with the city to get the lights at Lamb Field back on. And we actually use some of the fields here at Edison. So we're super involved in the redevelopment of this park and including youth soccer fields, which really are youth sports fields.
Right.
Soccer, lacrosse, football, all of that. So, all of the fields, really all of the besides baseball, softball, all of the youth sports fields for the most part in this part of town are school sites. And so that partnership is super important, and having other options like Edison and Lamb.
So are we good right now?
We are good.
Okay.
We've worked with, like I said,
Good.
the city.
Thank you,
the other
staff.
group we worked with was the community Edison Park Community Group,
Wonderful.
who were super helpful and open to our discussion as well.
Thank you,
So
staff,
thank you.
for doing that. Thank you. Okay. Amory, I know I'm sorry I cut you off earlier.
All right. Mr. Amory Hanson. So I wanted to make a comment and then I had a question. The comment I wanted to make was as I looked at the PowerPoint presentation today, there's so many big names. You got the Edison Community Center, Murdy Community Center, Christopher Carr Park, and I think that's yet another great reason why it's so great that our mayor has allowed 3 minutes at the city council meetings and not 2 minutes, 3 minutes for everyone. So I hope our future mayors, perhaps one who is here today or two, might do this as well. My question is, what is being done to address the homelessness issue that some have complained about in parks, particularly at Edison Park?
Mm-hmm. Well, I actually just had a conversation with Chief Parra just day before yesterday. It's actually dropping dramatically over the last couple months. And our facility over our navigation center is almost full. And we're doing enforcement. We're getting around. The homeless situation has not been solved. However, the homeless in the streets and in the parks have dropped dramatically over the last couple months. And I just talked to the chief, and he was very enthusiastic about the direction that we're heading. We have a lot more to do. I think we need to work with the state personally, a more mental health funding and a more addiction funding. And we're going to be continually do that. But I think we're heading in the right direction. And I think Chief Parra and our law enforcement have done a remarkable job, and we're heading in the right direction on that.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
That was not the answer I expected.
Say that again.
How are they getting rid of them in the park? Are they just picking them up at random?
They're enforcement now. Now that there's a navigation center, as long as they have a ability to go, and they have a bed, we're able to bring them over into the navigation center where they can get some county services as well.
I respectfully disagree with that.
Okay.
The parks, I'm here every day, and we have a constant influx of the same offenders. And I think what would be helpful, truthfully, would be a little bit more police presence. I know we have security, but I'm talking about someone dressed in blue who gets out, who walks around, says hello here and there. And again, there's the same people that overpark for 2 hours. There's a 2-hour parking lot over there that park there every day.
Okay.
And they come through because there's a recycling facility very close to here by the animal hospital. So there's this little trek from Hamilton at the end of Brookhurst and Hamilton. They stop here, they use the bathrooms, then they go there, then they peruse the park. And so they're the same people. So is it perfect? No, but I think if we did have more people cruising around, I think it might help. We don't see that. So
Okay.
we only see it when there's a problem.
Okay.
That's not my comment.
Well, on that comment,
That's just a.
no, on that
that's
comment,
just a-
I will talk
yeah.
to the chief and
Thank you.
and make sure that we have more
Thank you.
people patrolling here. So,
Here, I
yes,
don't know about
here.
the rest of the city,
No,
but
absolutely.
here.
No, that's why we're
This-
here.
This is
So-
what we see, and we see them up and down the sidewalks. But my comment was, as a 46-year resident, I have major concerns about ASCON, AES, and the Magnolia Tank Farm. And, at once upon a time in Huntington Beach, yes, this was a landfill, but so was the site across the street. So we had a lot of unregulated dumping. Long story short, we have a lot of stuff we don't know that exists underneath the soil that is dangerous. And we know it's dangerous because ASCON hasn't been able to work for 4 years. They're not able to lift a shovel because of what they could possibly put into the atmosphere. So, Department of Toxic Substances is doing their best to work with them to clean it. However, we have a site that's been separated with a chain link fence called the Magnolia Tank Farm. That's coming up for development. It was purchased, it was rezoned against a lot of people, especially the people who live down here. We fought not to have that rezoned for people to live on. Because frankly, that's the definition of insanity. We're still talking about that site being unlivable, unusable, dangerous. We don't know how bad. We don't have data to support who got sick when. But we're going to put families next to it, 40 feet from that. And now we have not one, but 2 operational power plants. And I just got news that AES is adding an additional 1,000 hours to our atmosphere. So, guys, that's the air we're breathing. And it's a real deal. And it's, you may not smell it, but it's happening. We have a toxic burden and an overload. So I pray that the city council today can undo what was approved. I could be fishing here, but undo that and don't allow families or a hotel there. It's not safe. It's not smart. That's a buffer, just like that area is industrial. That was zoned industrial to protect the people who live here from that. So my comments to you are just please keep that in your head. As we move forward, you're going to hear discussion about that development. And there's a lot of resistance for it.
Okay, thank you.
First of all, thanks for coming out here. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having me. Thanks for coming out.
It's good. So, long-time resident here. My name's Scott Smith. So, a few items, and actually a couple of them kind of already talked about the trash cans, but actually focused here. There are not enough trash cans here.
Okay.
I actually have some pictures that you'll see it, but
By the way, I would love to see the pictures. On the way out, I left my cards with my home phone number on it and my office number. So please, on the way out, anybody's interested, grab those cards. I would love to see the pictures.
baseball diamonds.
Yep.
And the softball, right on Sundays, the trash cans are out, and then so the birds and everything, it's a real mess. So that's item number 1. We need more trash cans here at Edison. Nancy brought up AES, right? So it's not 1,000, it's actually 2,000 because they're both running, right? So my mom, who used to actually work here, right? She died of lung cancer, not from smoking, right? Probably from living in this area, right? So there's a bunch of stuff coming out of there, right? Again, because it's not necessarily what's coming, it's the burning of the natural gas that they're using, right? So they're increasing on the 2,000 hours. There's a huge tax penalty that they're paying, $12 million, right? Where's the money going? So that would be something else that the city should look at, actually getting some of that money, especially because it's impacting our local residents here. The homeless, no, it was getting better, but maybe the summer it's nice, so that people are now coming back from wherever they were. But recently, in the last month, definitely a significant increase in homeless in the morning.
Okay.
I walk almost every day around the park into there. And lastly, so the Southeast area meeting, appreciate it. However, at 4:30 down at City Hall is a pain in the butt. Later would be nice, or possibly put it back online. that would really be nice. Because again, it's very convenient for me to be able to just to web in on it and do it. And I understand some difficulties and maybe some of the contention that could exist there because when people meet face to face, it's usually more civil, right? I get that. However, the convenience is really nice to be able to easily just get off work at 4-ish and be able to make the call. So thanks a lot. Appreciate it.
No, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And by the way, Chief Haberly's here from the fire department. Thank you so much for showing up, Chief. Any other questions? Go ahead, please. Questions or comments, I should say.
Well, the first is a comment, and I don't know if you're aware of AB 203 and the fact that the government is about to reach into our pockets one more time. I just happened to look at my electric bill and notice that Public Utilities Commission was going to consider a rate increase, and a part of that rate increase was an initiative that we can thank our state legislature for initiating, because once again, they've decided that in order to contribute to the infrastructure programs that are necessary to promulgate the green initiatives that the government has, that we, the electorate, should, in our electric bills, provide on a income basis a portion of a tax that will be assessed each income level to contribute to the utility infrastructure creation for the green initiatives in the state of California. So not only are we going to be paying for actual electricity use, but we're going to be paying based upon our income level.
Right.
So I find that to be a travesty and another government overreach and something that the government has enacted again without the consent of the electorate. And I take great umbrage to that. My second topic for you is sober living homes. I caught just a little snippet of a comment that you made it during one of the council meetings saying that you had not seen public interest with regard to sober living homes in Huntington
No, I know
Beach.
it's a huge issue. It's a
So
huge issue.
it is a huge lingering
Right.
issue that predates this particular council.
Right.
And I cornered Mike Yates when he came to my meet and greet on the driveway of our home, and he indicated that there were some detriments that existed within the prior council that caused us not to have enforcement proceedings against the sober living homes. And I'm wondering, is there a topic that is coming in the agenda of this council to address the neglect, malfeasance, and perhaps a very onerous situation to the state of California and the reputation that we have of being the rehab Riviera?
Okay, so to answer your second question, I will talk to the city attorney, Michael Gates. If there's anything we could do from a council perspective, we'll fight as much as we can. As you know, a lot of these are protected by a lot of the state laws, but whatever we can do, because it is a major and huge problem here in Huntington Beach. I do believe a lot of our homeless problem are people coming to these sober living homes, and when their insurance runs out, they get kicked to the curb, and then they're here on our streets. So anything I could do with the city attorney, Michael Gates, I'm not an attorney by trade, but anything we can do, I will commit to you that we'll do whatever we can to try to mitigate that. But then also, I was just made aware of, I don't know how they're going to implement it, but that is frightening that they're going to start, instead of just charging us on energy usage, that they're going to charge people based on their salaries more than someone else. I just think that that is insane. That's a good word. It's insane. And so a lot of these things are coming from Sacramento. Like I served in Sacramento in the Assembly and Senate. I will say, I thought it was bad then. It is insane now. And whatever we can try to push back, as you know, we try to push back, but we have to push back within what we have purview within the law. And we're keeping Michael Gates very busy. I'll just tell you that.
I'll point out to you, Mr. Mayor, that cities surrounding us, such as Costa Mesa and San Clemente, have enacted ordinances who have been tested in the courts, and it doesn't seem like a large reach to grab some of those court-tested ordinances.
I'll take a look. You said Costa Mesa and San Clemente?
Yes.
We'll take a look at their ordinances and see if we can do that here.
Great.
Okay.
Certainly appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you. Any other questions? Go ahead.
I don't have a question, I have a comment.
Please.
I've been living here since 1966. I went to Eater. I went to school with that. I was in third grade. I went to Eastler and then to Edison. And Nancy is correct about the cancer and the family stuff down here. It's just insane. And I wish I had the account. I don't have the account, but in my family alone, my father died at the age of 66 of a brain tumor. My mother had 4 different kinds of cancer. And my sister and I both had breast cancer down here. And we were living in the same household. Now, my 2 older brothers never got cancer because they were living out in Riverside. So this whole asthma thing is just ridiculous that anybody would want to live on such toxic land like that. And for anybody to propose that they build a hotel or home or anything on that land is insane. It's just ridiculous. That's my comment.
All right. Thank you. Go ahead, ma'am.
Yeah, on the air show, we're right in the path of it. And it's really hard on my animals. She won't go outside. And I was wondering if you could make a compromise instead of 3 days, have it maybe 2. I know that it's really good for the city as far as bringing money in. But, there is a lot of people who want it and a lot of people who don't, and I think it would be good to make a compromise. And also that I'm concerned about air crashes. In Dallas, Texas, last year there were 6 dead in an air crash. In England in 2015, 11 people died. In Germany in 1988, 70 people died. And if they could do more of the flights over the ocean, it would be way safer because they're right over my house constantly. And it was fun the first few years, now it's just pain.
Well, this is one of those we agree to disagree without being disagreeable. I think the air show gives us international recognition here in Huntington Beach. It brings over $100 million to our local economy and an unbelievable amount directly to our coffers that allow us to do redevelopments here in these parks. So for 3 days, I understand those concerns, and we'll talk to the director of the air show, but I personally, and again, we could agree to disagree. I couldn't disagree with you more. I just think the air show is one of the biggest gems we have going for Huntington Beach. No, it's not just about the money. It's about the family, everybody getting together. There's there's so many positives that come. But again, we could agree to disagree.
I walked around down there.
They do fly over the ocean as well.
It's the people living on Main Street. I actually went door knocking on Main Street area, and you should have seen the people's faces that live down there. They were like, and it was like because I went through all the apartment complexes and stuff, and it was just like all these people that were like, it was like a Sunday or something too, so they were just done. It hurts. It physically hurts if you live on Main Street.
Yeah, no,
I like it on Beach and Ellis, it's fine.
Again, we're here. We don't always, look, no one's, look, I don't agree with my wife 100% of the time. So we're never going to agree on everything. But I'm here to listen. And I'll just, again, from my perspective, I couldn't disagree with you more. In fact, we've done a lot of surveys, and the air show is unbelievably popular in town.
I like it. Yeah, I'm just saying I have a lot of sympathy.
Yeah, I'll talk to the organizer. I'll talk to the organizer. But right now, we're just trying to save the air show, to make sure it continues. Well, we don't know. Right now, we're just trying to make sure we save it. And it usually is here right around the October time.
Shifting gears, this comment has to do with the police department. So we have in Southeast Huntington Beach, probably everywhere in the city, but since we're here and we're talking about this area, I'm going to focus on this area. A lot of different opportunities for those street takeovers, and where we have a lot of remnants of people doing unlawful things in our intersections, all up and down the southeast area. So from PCH, you can see the donut marks. They go down Brookhurst, they go down Magnolia, they go down Bouchard, they're up and down Banning, and it's not just one intersection, it's a lot. And so I started to think about that, and I'm like, if there's nobody down here or no plan, or, we've got to come up with something. We can't just keep letting them do those things, because it's dangerous, but it's also a nuisance to the people who live on these streets. I happen to back on Magnolia, so I hear the people in their loud cars coming from PCH to Hamilton, and it's a free-for-all because there's absolutely nobody going to stop them. So I just wanted to put a little emphasis and just a teeny bit of discussion today on that problem that exists. And I know everybody's aware of it, but it's not just one intersection. It's pretty much any old street in Southeast. And when I say Southeast, maybe from here, towards Costa Mesa and there. But just something that I don't know what the plan is. Is there a plan?
Well, I'll pass it off to Chief Parr. Chief Parr and I talk very frequently, and that's why I do these things, is so I can get those concerns and then pass it on to Chief
And
Parr
even if you just put an announcement somewhere that this is what we plan on doing to address this issue, and you throw it on social media, I would be fine with that.
Great. Thank you. So with that, I do want, again, Al Zelinka, our city manager, please stand up. And again, the rest of the city staff, some of the city staff took time. Obviously here, city staff, fire, Chief Haberly, everybody, city staff, stand up. And let's give them a round of applause. So again, the reason why I do these is to get those kinds of comments and see what I can do to try to mitigate those problems and do what I can as your mayor. And again, Gracie Vandermark, let's give her a big round of applause. And Natalie Moser, she's here as well. So we're trying to be here, and I know now that we're concluding, I'll hang around for a little bit, but again, my cards are out there, my home phone number's on there, my office number's on there. If you ever need to meet, please, I believe the best electeds are the ones that listen. There's a reason why God gave you one mouth and two ears for a reason. And we want to make sure that we do these things to get your community input. So thank you for taking the time to be here, and I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful evening. Thank you.